Wealthy individuals often leverage borrowed money rather than relying solely on earned income because loans, unlike wages or investment gains, aren't treated as taxable income. By purchasing appreciating assets, real estate, businesses, or stocks, and then borrowing against the increased value of those holdings, they unlock liquidity without triggering a taxable event. In effect, they can redeploy that borrowed capital into new investments or business ventures, while the underlying assets continue to grow in value. Moreover, interest on many of those loans can be tax-deductible, further reducing their true borrowing cost, whereas dividends, salaries, or realized capital gains face direct taxation. This buy-borrow-buy cycle allows them to compound their wealth. Use an asset as collateral to borrow at relatively low rates, invest that borrowed money into another appreciating asset, and repeat, each time deferring or minimizing tax obligations. Because loans must eventually be repaid, there is a discipline that forces careful asset management and cash flow planning. But if the assets outperform the borrowing costs, and historically real estate and equities have tended to do so, this approach can create a powerful, self-reinforcing wealth-building engine that remains largely beyond the reach of ordinary income taxation. Wealthy individuals often leverage debt as a powerful, tax-efficient tool for building and preserving their fortunes. Because borrowed money isn't treated as income, it isn't subject to income tax the way wages or dividends are. Here's how the strategy typically works. Rich investors start by purchasing assets that either grow in value over time, real estate, stocks, private businesses, or generate ongoing cash flow, rental properties, dividends, business revenues. As those assets appreciate or generate profits, equity accumulates. Instead of selling and realizing a taxable gain, they take out loans, often at very favorable rates, using their assets as collateral. Since loan proceeds aren't considered taxable income, they receive large sums of cash without triggering capital gains taxes. The borrowed funds are then redeployed into new investments, acquiring more properties, expanding businesses, buying market securities, again generating appreciation or income. Over time, this debt-for-equity cycle compounds wealth far more quickly than relying solely on after-tax income. In many jurisdictions, interest expenses on certain types of loans, especially business-related debt or mortgages on investment real estate, can be deducted against taxable income, further reducing their overall tax burden. Meanwhile, they often borrow at low interest rates and invest in higher-yielding opportunities, pocketing the difference. Loans are not taxed as income, and many interest payments are deductible. Continual reinvestment of borrowed funds accelerates asset appreciation and income streams. By keeping ownership on paper, they defer or avoid triggering capital gains events, preserving flexibility and control. In essence, by using other people's money in a tax-advantaged way, the ultra-wealthy can multiply their investment power while minimizing the drag of taxes, one of the key mechanisms by which wealth begets more wealth.